Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel with myself, Isabella. Today we're going to be looking at part 2 of the series Vaganova Then and Now. So really exciting. So we'll be looking at some of the older classes and then skipping a little bit further ahead now to some of the older classes. So we do a relatively large jump, and I make a joke about that later, such a good pun. But you can really see a definitive difference in how the girls are, as well as just many things, not just the ballet technique themselves, but also just the consensus of how the bodies look and also the exercises, and it's super interesting. So I hope you enjoy. We're moving on to 98, which is the 98 year, which is Ekaterina Borchenko with Kovalova's class. Oh, you can hear the school bell in the background. Here we go. So we're going from pirouettes, still long sleeves, still wooden floor. I would say one thing I've noticed is throughout the years have looked consistently good. You know, there hasn't been a year at all where it's been like, okay, that's not such a great year. They're all really great years. And they all look similar, I think. I think the girls all look kind of similar shape and sizes. To be honest, I think if you're asked to wear long sleeves and no skirt, that sort of sets you up to look a certain way, you know. And this girl in the front here has a super high-waisted leotard. She wants those long legs. This is also, I think, the era of allowing the girls to hop a bit more, you know, whereas I think it's something that maybe because the girls nowadays are technically stronger, they just don't hop as much. The first time I saw hopping, because at the Royal Ballet School we don't really hop, like it's either up or down, which I actually think that's better, to be honest, because I think if you hop around it's just setting you up for there's Ekaterina Borchenko. It's kind of setting you up for feeling tense and not doing it as well, you know. But when I went to Vaganova and the girls were sort of hopping around a little bit more, I was like, okay, that's weird. And the ones who hopped couldn't turn as well. But that has, I think, faded over the years. Nice fondo exercise. Beautiful expression. And again, I wouldn't say there's definitive difference between the girl who's in the middle and the girl who's on the end, and the girls who are in the rest of the group. I think they all look good. They all look nice. So we're going to move on now, and we're going to go to another exercise. All right. So the next exercise. Grand pirouettes. Very beautiful, clean. A little bit more hopping there, but still gorgeous. Good. Really beautiful. Ah, fouettes. Nice. I would say probably, you know, these girls, even though there's some bits which are a little bit messy here and there, I would say these girls seem like slightly more ahead of their time almost. I mean, I feel like, I'm just thinking back to, this is 98, you know, kind of in the UK. Who would that have been? Maybe Darcy Bustle, who was also kind of ahead of her time with how she looked, like the long legs and everything. Like Darcy would have done super well had she gone to this school, you know. It's funny, the pianist is playing music. I'm pretty sure this pianist who's playing for Kovalova now played for all her exams. And Kovalova has, I mean, there's a separate video on itself how Kovalova's evolved, because her exercises have changed and gotten fancier. She's evolved herself, she's adapted, she's grown. Like her exercises have become more characterful, more diverse in mood. I think in this era of the Vaganova, the dancers are super clean, they're still incredibly strong. There's no kind of definitive difference in strength other than possibly the pirouettes these days are slightly stronger because we don't hop around as much. But they're very strong and they're very placed and they're very academically clear. But the exercises are doing and just covering what they need to. There's no kind of crazy exploration of choreography. Right guys, so we'll leave that one there. Interesting stuff. Now we're going to move on and go skip ahead by quite a bit. So we're going now from 98 to 2011. So we're going to see quite a big jump also in the exercise. So between that period, you know, we'll have people like Smirnova, Novikova, all those people. And from those exams, again, it's very pure. The legs are higher, the back bends are more, but the clarity and the pureness is relatively the same. Like it hasn't really changed. And so that's why I'm skipping ahead now to Olga Smirnova's year, because we still have that, but the exercises have changed now. So the exercises look a little bit more, let's say, daring and a little bit more challenging. So let's have a look. Going with jumps with Olga. Now I would say everything looks a little bit more, I want to say, polished in execution of the girls as well. They're all slightly more together, but I would say there is a definitive difference between who's in front and who's behind, as well as in the body types as well. They're a bit more varied. And we're in skirts now, no more long sleeve side, and they've added pearls to their hair, which is nice. All very nice. I would also say the dancers look a little bit more, I want to say, confident, but also their upper bodies are, for example, you know, when they come down from a pirouette, the arms really open and the chest is really up. Like, I want to say the arms and upper body are a little bit more exaggerated looking, rather than it's kind of, even though, you know, the Russians are more expressive than, say, the English style. In the previous years we watched, it was more kind of subtly pure, whereas now we're kind of like a bit more confident and exaggerative with the upper body and arms and use of elbows. And I would also say each dancer as well, and each of their personalities is a little bit more prevalent in these years. Like, you can see their personalities as they dance a little bit more. Like they don't look all so much of a group, you know, like they're a bit more stand out individually of what their personality is. And the stars are obvious, I think. There's Olga. Oh, beautiful use of back. I mean, how she used her elbow there. And the chin. And again, the exercises are just a little bit more challenging, a little bit different. Very nice. That's Alina Somova's sister who's just walked off. She has a sister. They're very different. I don't think she was born with the hyperextendedness that Alina was. Very intimidating when you have a sister or relative who's been a star, I suspect. Jumps. Not bad. Oh, Olga really floats in those jumps. Very nice. Very beautiful. And Olga's someone who has, you know, looked extremely academically pure, like beautiful throughout her entire training. But also always had that kind of aura and star quality to her. Yeah, oh, those two struggled with those jetés, the back leg sagging a little bit. So I would already say in this year, the standards a little bit more varying. You know, some are stand out good, and some are not so great. Whereas before, I genuinely think, from the older generation of classes, even though the exercises were less fancy, I would say there was a sort of overall consensus and an overall pure standard and high standard of everyone, rather than one or two being alright. I bet it's fascinating being Kovalova though. Think how many dancers of that kind of standard she's watched, trained, developed. You know, gosh, she must have so many opinions. Like, and just know, and she must know so much, like who's actually going to make it, who's not, who will kind of stop, who will continue, you know. It's really fascinating. Bit of Sleeping Beauty. I just love Olga's arms. Again, she has changed herself a lot. Gosh, we'll have to do an analysis on her as well. Have I done that already? I can't remember. If not, we should definitely do one. Right, we're going to move on to when they're in the point shoes. Otherwise, we will be here all day. Right, we're in the point shoes now. On the jumps. Lovely use of épaulement. I do love the exaggerated use of upper body though. Like I don't think it's bad. I think it's just how things have developed. This is my favourite. Watch Olga's back. Looking over. The use of the head is just beautiful. I would say the dancers, and also the evolution of the point shoe. Everyone's wearing gain or mindens here. You know, those older dancers didn't used to wear gain or mindens. And so now, when the Russians got word of gain or mindens being at play, you know, people became more comfortable in the point shoes, and people started feeling more comfortable, therefore more confident to be more technical and try new things. And we have a new floor, And so with all these things, I think the dancers change and the dancers evolve. They look more confident, the exercises have got more complicated, Kovalova feels like she can push them more. Beautiful fouette. But it's like, you know, them as the dancers go into each step and into each turn, we just look very, very confident, you know. Novikova's exam, which was super pure, super clean, was also very beautiful, very technical. That was, and I think actually, if I'm honest, I think the dancers from the older generations of kind of that era of, you know, Smirnova, Shakirova, Novikova, those few years, were potentially stronger than the dancers of kind of this newer generation. But I think because of the year it was, the shoes they had, the floors and everything, maybe they, you know, they didn't really have the option to really push their technique to that kind of tricksy level, you know. I'm speculating here, but I'm just thinking out loud, but I'm imagining, like, what if during their training years they were given that kind of option and that kind of range of tools, you know. I reckon things would be very different. Beautiful turns, beautiful. We'll watch just a little bit more. Lots of control. Christina Chaperon in front, she's very good at holding things and pulling up, but less so doing, you know, lots of turns, etc. They shouldn't have amazing coordination, like ongoing coordination, so she would struggle with fouettes, for example. But she has very hyperextended legs, and does she pull them up? Yes, she does. Does she dance on bent knees? No, she doesn't. That won't happen. Okay, so we're going to move on now to Udalenkova. So this is 2013. So this is the year after I graduated. So we looked at the year before I graduated, and then there was the year that I graduated, so you can watch that even on my channel. We've spoken about me enough. And then, yeah, and then we have this year. So let's take a look. So this year is really great because this is the year of Renata Shakirova, who is a fantastic Mariinsky soloist now. And I actually think Renata Shakirova had changed a lot already when Nikolai Tsiskaritsy took over, because in so I don't think they're graduating here, this group, necessarily. I can't quite remember, but anyway, Renata was definitely there when Tsiskaritsy was there, like at the very beginning of his takeover, and she already kind of changed a little bit and was a bit more daring, a bit more Bolshoi, but on stage, you know, now she's fantastic. She's always had a great energy about her. So this is, that's my friend Tatum in front, who's now a principal at Slovak National Ballet. So here's Renata, who has changed a lot, and watching this you can see actually how much she's improved, but she's always had a great energy about her and been more daring. So Renata, unlike, you know, usual bodies like Svetlana Zakharova, for example, Renata can jump very, very well, because I think because of the shape of her legs as well. Like, she doesn't have insane feet, like they're a little bit flatter, and she doesn't have very hyperextended feet, so legs, so she can control them a bit more, which I think now has led her to have fantastic turns, fantastic fouettes. Very nice blinchikis. Interesting, they would make this a real thing. On both sides we do this. I think Udalenkova as well is one to keep things a little bit simpler, make everything pure and make sure the girls are doing it right and properly. Nice. Alright, so now we've done those, let's get back to the exciting stuff. Now this group looks a little bit different. They look more like shorter dancers compared to, like, you know, the era of Shakirova, Lopatkina and Novikova, Alina Somova, who were gigantic, you know, like literally like my height, 5 foot 7, 8, 9, which is, I'm like 175, 6 centimeters. This group looks much smaller and more sort of athletic looking, in the sense that it looks like their forte of the, like this group's forte is definitely like virtuoso stuff, like turns and jumps, rather than adagio stuff, because fundamentally adage looks beautiful on long, more flexible bodies. Really, it's the lines. But you know, everyone, and yeah, this group is different. But again, exercises are pure, covering certain things. We need to cover this. Yeah, but I have a feeling, I don't quite think this is the graduation exam, but nonetheless, we'll have a look at this one. And they do, often in exams, you know, you wouldn't do both sides the same. Like, you wouldn't cover both sides, but this side is definitely covering it. And already there's more foreigners in this class. There's, seems to be 1, 2, 3, I think there's 3 or 4. And notice how she puts Renata on her own a lot. She can jump very well. There's Altanai. I'm sorry, I'll just pause there. Look at Altanai's face here. I love her, right? I love this woman, but like, that is the face that we have to look at when we're doing the exam. Look how beautiful she is, right? Lovely suit, but she's so serious, you know. She's so serious. It's hard to look at. It's hard to focus on. I'm going to skip forwards a little bit. So in point she's now. Renata has always also had a very beautiful arabesque. Really beautiful arabesque. Like, it's something that she's always had, I think, quite naturally. Like, you know, everybody has something that's easier for them, and arabesque for her has been great. I can't quite remember. I think that girl's from Sweden. Or is it Finland? Not sure. The girls look nice and confident. There's always beautiful use of head. Up and up again when we lunge. Very strong, look at it. But I don't think this group are necessarily super gymnastic, let's say. I think they're like confident little race horses. Like I can imagine if they were in Russian companies, they'd suit more of the soloist roles rather than the principal ones. Do you know what I mean? Because the Russian companies are kind of a bit ruthless in what they imagine a principal is, you know, or what they imagine a ballerina is, you know. However, I think the Mariinsky now has changed to be a little bit more obsessed with tricks and, well, it's evolving with the times, right? So Renata, for example, is being really pushed, but Renata has really stepped up. Like, you should watch her extracts of, especially like Don Quixote and Paquita. Her technique has massively improved. She has this kind of confidence on stage now, so she's really daring, and with her fantastic jump, you know, she's gorgeous. Right guys, we'll watch this exercise and then we'll move on. So soon it's about to get interesting, right? In a moment we will watch a little bit of Maria Chorova, which we've watched before. And so Nikolai Tsiskaridze is now involved in what's going on. And then we'll fully establish the differences. But these girls are gorgeous. They look strong, exercises are pure, and they're all together. Alright, we'll leave it there. And they're all very relatively similar, so that's a good group. I wouldn't say it's a standout group other than Renata, but even Renata there, she stands out, I would say, later. Guys, thank you so much for watching part 2. I hope you really enjoyed this episode. I'm just so passionate about the Vaganova school and just ballet in general. I could talk about it and watch it all day, and so I hope you're really enjoying this series. So we'll be approaching the final series now, the final episode in this series, which is part 3, and I'm really excited about this because we'll be looking at not only the girls but also some of Nikolai Tsiskaridze's boys, and just how different the exercises are. Before you go, if you enjoyed this video, you're really going to enjoy my BWI platform. Try it for 14 days, absolutely free. Whether you're a beginner or a professional, we have everything you'll need to succeed. We have classes, courses, which are in-depth lessons, plans, as well as bespoke plans, whether you're struggling with organization and you just really need to know exactly what to do. Maybe you watch endless videos on YouTube, but you don't even know if the level you're watching is catered to you. Well, that's where BWI comes in. Try it for 14 days and you won't regret it. Let's improve your Grand Allegro. Welcome to my Grand Allegro course. In this course, we cover everything to make a good high jump. All right, those are the key rules you need to know for that jump in particular. Step across, arabesque, and chassé. 1, always leave your head, don't look immediately where you're going. Leave the head foot. 1, we'll be looking at exercises to strengthen your jump. We'll be looking at explosive power to get nice and high in your jumps, as well as exercises to improve agility and speed, but that's not all. Then we'll be taking you through tutorials of each most commonly used Grand Allegro jump, so you know exactly how to execute them to your best potential. Let's get going.